All right. I'm going live because I'm getting used to doing that. I'm in between sessions right now, and I wanted to, come on here and really talk about why the narcissist devalues you. The interesting thing about the narcissist and their ability to devalue people so quickly is that they can't help it. The narcissist really cannot help but to devalue you because they feel valueless. And that's really interesting when you think about it, because really, when we are working with a narcissist, or if you're dating a narcissist, you'll find that they tend to or appear to have like this big self-inflated ego, and they do, but it doesn't mean that they feel that they have value. And this is on an unconscious level, you see, or a subconscious level, however you want to look at that. They are feeling like by you getting praised for something, that it lessens them, right? And that's dangerous when you're at work, because when you're at work, you're working towards goals. You're working in a way that you want to feel good. You want to share what you're doing. You want to share your contribution. And here you have someone devaluing your contribution. And but whereas maybe months before, maybe you started working with them initially, and they're giving you all this praise and this, they're putting you almost like on a pedestal. You feel real, real good. And then all of a sudden they stop valuing you, or it appears to be very confusing for you who's going through that. And I totally get it. I totally get it, because if you watch my videos, you'll know that I was seeing a narcissist, and I actually was engaged. I had a ring on my finger, and which I don't have anymore. Thank you. I put it on this finger because why not? It's diamonds. It's beautiful. But the thing is that I remember this once. I was doing a webinar, and it was approximately 300 people on this webinar. And I was hosting and moderating this webinar. I mean, that's quite a large number of people for the organization I work for. And after that session, he was in the living room, and he had jumped in on the call because he would come to my webinars that I was hosting. And I remember when I got off, I was so happy, because I knew I had done such a good job. It was something that I was ready for. I was working with two very amazing colleagues on this webinar. And it was very fast moving. And I think it was a 45-minute webinar. And so there were a lot of questions. There were a lot of monitoring the chat with a colleague who was monitoring it. But nevertheless, I had to pay attention. I said, "Oh, what'd you think?" And he was hyped. He was like, "Oh my God, and your friends, so-and-so was really good, and so-and-so was really good. And oh my God," when they were asking these questions, and he was giving everyone, the other people, my colleagues, all the praise. And I was sitting there, and I was standing there staring at him, and I was thinking that this was interesting. That why was he not commenting on my performance as such, for lack of a better word. And then I said, "Okay, well, that's great." I said, "Well, what did you think about me?" And his response was, "Well, there seemed to be a lot of questions. He had to devalue my contribution. He devalued my contribution because he felt valueless. He had been somebody in the military, a big somebody in the military, and he had wanted to, be at the level that I was at in real time. So he had to devalue. Oh, hello, thank you for being here. He had to devalue my contribution to make him feel better." And I remember thinking to myself, like, what the F is going on here? Because the interesting thing, when a person's is behaving in a certain way, and you're a professional in the psychology space, you don't really want to believe what you're seeing. And I've spoken to a lot of professionals who they They know the signs of narcissism, but they didn't want to believe it because you're in love. And maybe if it's your boss, you care about that boss because they show you, they give you so many mixed signals. You know, one minute they're valuing you, and the next minute, another day, they're devaluing you. So it's a real, it's a play on purpose. They're playing with your mind on purpose. Don't get it twisted. They are doing that crap on purpose. They know if I can devalue you, I can get below the surface and I can hurt you. Why? Because they have a low sense of self. They may have this inflated, grandiose personality, and you would think they're the most confident person on earth. And at the time when you meet them, when you're first getting to know them, they do appear to be the most confident person. And you admire that. You really do. I know I admire that, you know. But when I started to see the cracks, because don't forget, the narcissist cannot sustain wearing the scaffolding of protection very long. They can't. They can't hide it too long. The longer you're in their company, you start to see the cracks. And at that point, when he devalued me and that 300-person attendance of the webinar I was hosting, he couldn't help it. He freaking hated me for it because it wasn't his moment. You see, your boss will despise you because it's not their moment. And I want you to understand, it is nothing that you're doing. You do not need to play yourself small. You need to recognize that they are devaluing you because they have no sense of value themselves. And how did that happen? It more than likely happened in their childhood. That's where the narcissism is located. Where is the starting point? It doesn't start when they're 18, 19, 20. No, it started way before that, way before. We're talking about the childhood baby experience from where they had a feeling of, I am valued by this person. I am valued by the mother. I'm valued by the father. Are the people who's supposed to love them and care for them? Am I valued by them? And if the answer is no, then therein the cracks begin with the personality being shaken and everything. And then that's when, dependent upon the type of narcissism that they're high on, that's when the cracks start to form. They will start to try to get as much attention as possible. That's why the narcissist will throw you under the bus at work. That's why they will take credit for your contribution, because they are valueless within themselves. They are, and I'm going to say it, they have such a weak ego. It is so fractured, you know. And please let us not feel sorry for the narcissist, because the narcissist has probably been told about their crap behavior over and over again, and they're making choices to treat you like that. Everyone has a choice, even the narcissist. They will say they have no idea what you're talking about. They will say, you know, no one's, my narcissist, he told me no one had ever told him about himself like that. No one has ever said that he behaved in such a way. Because why? Because they have power. They have a positional power over you. They have pulled you in and they have pushed you away, pulled you in, pushed you away. They got you so convinced. They got you so convinced that you can help them, you can change them. Why do they do that? Because that way they can keep you in their presence. It is such a manipulative game. The devalue game, oh my days. The devaluing you and everything you do. They will devalue your contribution when you've done most all that work. They will take that credit and say it was all them. They will. I had this narcissist take full credit for him even getting his damn book written. He will take full credit for his book in every which way being as successful as it was. That I helped that man write a book, get it self-published, do everything, how to get these things done, submit it with a better work title in order for it to really strike a chord with people. And it went freaking #1. Okay. I also have a book that went #1. It's Unleashing Brilliance, a Roadmap to Confidence. It went #1 because why? I got some skills, right? He didn't like the fact that I knew he couldn't get a book written without me. But get this, I never held it against him. But it was the fact that he knew that I knew, and that if other people knew, he would not be seen as great, or that or that's what he thought. I don't know. But I knew he had to start devaluing my contribution. And he did that by giving other people credit for inspiring him. He did that at that webinar I talked about. He made it seem like my work wasn't good. My work was damn good. I was not confused by any means. But at that point, I started to seeing the cracks, which started to open up for me to see the narcissistic behavior, to see the narcissistic traits, right? And his happens to be really on that grandiosity. He really has a grandiose personality, right? Grandiose, and he's very, very fragile. And if he exposes himself, he resents you for it. See, if you're dealing with these types at work, it is going to behoove you to make sure that you are feeding yourself that self-belief, reminding yourself of what contribution you're making. Write that stuff down. If this is about a relationship you're in, same thing. Remind yourself of how you show up in the world. You might not be in a position to extract yourself out of that environment with that narcissist. I'm not going to say that's easy, especially if you got food to put on the table, you got a family to take care of. And if you're in a romantic relationship with a narcissist, this is that child's father or the father figure that they have known or the mother figure that they have known. It is not different. It is not easy, but that kind of writing down, that type of journaling, that type of reflective journaling is going to serve you. It's going to help you, remind you of what you're dealing with and remind you of who you are, right? I had to remind myself, you badass girl. I leveled his ass up. Let's keep it real. I leveled him up and he didn't like it in the end. And it wasn't even in the end because he had started to devalue me. He started to devalue me very early on. I was a badass. I am a badass. He was a badass in the Navy, right? And that's on him. That's on him. So if you are feeling devalued in work or in love by your narcissist, my advice to you is to check in, listen to more videos on that, but understand that you can get out of that toxic environment. You can get out of that toxic environment. It just takes strategy. It takes courage. And it takes you to remember how amazing you are because they've probably gone ahead and made you feel low. And that freaking sucks. That really does suck. And I'm really sorry that you've gone through that. I really am. But start to do the work. Start writing a reflective journal, your thoughts about yourself. Why did I not listen to the red flags? Start asking yourself very important questions, and trust me, over time, your confidence will be restored. But it does take work, my darlings. It takes work. We have to work. And some days are going to be really good and you'll be able to remind yourself of who you are. And other days you may find it difficult because when you're in these relationships with these people, be it work or love, you are building up a muscle of tolerance of the bullshit. Yeah. And 70% of what we do, I recently read 70% of what we do is done on automatic pilot. You're an automatic pilot when you tolerate them. I want to get you into the 30% of new behavior patterns that can help to unlock you and free yourself from that environment strategically. Because don't forget, these darn narcissists are crafty. They will get in your head and they can throw you under a bus in many different kinds of ways, And if we're talking about work, you've got to be smart. You've got to be strategic because if you're not, you run the risk of that reputation being ruined. Look, I've taken up enough of your time. I appreciate you being here. Please watch the next video, and I will see you next time for this Narcissism Chronicles. I'm KK Harris. I am an executive coach and a business and a psychologist with a specialism in psychoanalysis. So I will see you at the next one. Thank you so much. If you're watching this on the replay, I appreciate you. I love you. Work smarter, not harder. I'll see you soon.